on my way.
Alright, let me just sit down. Okay. So hopefully this sounds good. It should. Okay. Alright, so, Deadly Towers, 1987, from, Broderbund, the makers of, Wern. A bunch of places is Carmen Sandiego, and, some other games, and also, software like Print Shop that my mother used a lot. And actually I did too, but this game was actually originally called Hell's Bells, but Nintendo kind of frowned upon that. It's alternatingly, considered an okay game, and there are a lot of people who think it's one of the worst games ever made. So your mileage will vary. I think there's actually a secret entrance, yeah. Why not? Oh man, we're gonna get wrecked. There's no way we have the weapons for this. I was just about to say there's a secret entrance to a dungeon here, and we seem to have found it. And I have literally no idea where I'm going. I've never actually... No, actually I did beat this game once. But it's very confusing. I'd like to go through it at some point with a guide, but I didn't mean to go. I was just going to be like, oh, over here, there's a secret level. Oh, crap. Yeah, these things are going to really kill you. Yep. Okay. Let's try that again. So, as I was saying, there are a lot of people that kind of think this game is really bad, and I think somewhere in this game there is a good game. It's just hard to find. Yeah, it's right up there. There's a bunch of those kinds of dungeons throughout the game that you can just kind of stumble into. I don't know why that wall is making a frowny face at us, and that one's kind of making a colon capital D face at us. Your weapons in this game are, at least at first, are so slow. Unless you're really close like that. Oh, hey everybody, Mad Wolf. Hey, this game is totally underrated and could just get more props. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. For sure. Hold on a second. I gotta prop my mic up. With a new setup here over at my desk instead of the consoles, I gotta put this a little higher. Okay, that's better. That's better. That's better. Yeah. Ooh, whoops. Yeah, I can understand that. Because the other Broderbund game that I don't really like that I know a lot of people like is Legacy of the Wizard. Oh, geez. Yeah, I always end up dying a lot. Yeah, we just did a podcast episode about Legacy of the Wizard. Actually, so did Retronauts as well. And they had on a couple people who were very high on the game. This game drove me nuts as a kid because I knew there was a way to get through it, and I eventually I did, but it just was so maddening. The pretty decent Broderbund game of that whole little lot of them on the NES is Battle of Olympus, which is kind of a Zelda 2 style game. And it's pretty good. Like it kind of out Zelda 2's Zelda 2. Oh! Oh. This game is like Dark Souls 30 years before. Oh no! Oh. Alright, I have no idea what dungeon I'm in. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, Battle of Olympus is pretty cool, Mad Wolf. I have no idea what to do. Oh. I'm kind of into how the music's a little different in each room. That's kind of cool, actually. This music is so tinny, though. Just like Legacy of the Wizard. Ah! Ooh. Alright, don't go that way. So we went this way. No. I actually did grid map this when I was growing up, but when we moved in 92, I went to pull it off my wall and I kind of wrecked it and I ended up throwing it out. Oh, geez, one hit took 50 points off. That's pretty wild that it just like right away they're like, all right, well, here's enemies. They can just kind of two-shot kill you. It's an ooh, like that one for example. Yeah, I've checked out Overclocked Remix before, Mad Wolf. It's pretty cool. A couple of these tracks are there's very similar versions in Legacy of the Wizard. I never noticed it until I was replaying it for the podcast, but they're very similar, versions of the tracks. Ooh, stay away from the cliff there. And stay away from that dungeon. I like that this game was originally called Hell's Bells. That's a really cool name for a game. Deadly Towers is kind of cool, too. Go. Come on. Oh, good, more bats. I wish Sarah was here so she could yell about bats. Okay. What are these guys doing? Oh, speaking of Dracula, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon comes out tomorrow, which is a new game from the makers of Castlevania, kind of, sort of. And the trailer for it looks like Castlevania 3 meets Ninja Gaiden. which looks like something that is extremely my thing. Yeah, the Bloodstained. There's two Bloods. There's gonna actually be two Bloodstained games. The one that's gonna come out like on the PS4, etc. And then one of their Kickstarter goals was to do an 8-bit game as well, and that's coming out tomorrow. And it's called Curse of the Moon. There's a trailer on YouTube. It's like 3 or 4 minutes, and it looks really cool. It looks like a Castlevania game. So it's like they're doing, the other one that looks more like a Symphony of the Night kind of game, and then they're gonna do more of a like an NES Castlevania game. I think that's a pretty cool idea. To do like a newer style game, and then like an older one. But yeah, trailer's on YouTube. It looks cool. And then next week, the Sega Collection comes out for the PS4. Because for a while on Tuesdays, we're going to start streaming some Sega games. That's going to be our Tuesday 6 p.m. stream. I think we're going to start with... well, actually, I think the first week, I think we're going to do some different stuff. But then we're going to do... I think the first one's going to be Phantasy Star 3. Because that's one of my favorite games. But we'll probably, the first night, we'll probably play a bunch of games. Run out of health. Oh, thank you. Hearts. They're like wall meat, but hearts. Ah, come on. Shit. Jeez. So I guess there's just like no, and I never really thought about it, but I guess there's just like no save states in this game or anything. Oh yeah, we're up here. Okay, cool. Oh crap. I thought you hit those. Oh. Oh, well, we can get back up there. Yeah, there's really no place to save. Yeah, this was kind of in that era, that early NES era where games were still kind of, they still had like an arcade sensibility to them. So they were thinking about, how many quarters can we get out of you? And I think that, and it's easy to say 30 years later, of course, but I think that kind of takes away from, there's a bunch of games I think that really detracts from. Oh, jeez. Hey, if I sit back like this, does the vocal still sound okay? Oh, and you always get caught on those pipes. Seriously, this is 1987 Dark Souls. This game. At least it turns out that it wasn't me back then. It's just no, this game is just brutal. Oh shit. Yeah, Mad Wolf. There are a lot of games on Kickstarter that I think are, never quite gonna get done. I mean, it's hard, especially if you're only a couple person team. We streamed a while back Cosmic Star Heroine, which was a game that really had only a couple people working on it, and the developers have talked about how just brutally difficult it was to put the game together. That's a really cool game, though. I've backed a couple games on Kickstarter before. Unfortunately, I was a Mighty Number Nine person. That game turned out to be pretty bad. Oh, jeez. No, 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 no! You get caught on that goddamn pipe right there. And if you go too far down, you're going to fall off. We're actually going to stream Mighty Number Nine on Monday. Just to kind of say, hey, we streamed it. But it's pretty bad. Which was too bad. I do, in theory, like the idea of, people like the creators of like Castlevania and Mega Man and stuff like that going to places like Kickstarter to get backing for their games. In theory, it's a pretty cool idea. All right, I am not. Maybe. Oh, made it. All right, we need some hearts here. Anything? Maybe? Yeah, alright. We're up to 12. Jeez. Yeah, I think the big problem is that these games, I think that's kind of the downside of when these games are kickstarted, is that then there's a higher expectation. There's a bunch of stuff that I've been a Kickstarter for, and yeah, I mean, absolutely, I kind of have higher demands for quality. Sure. The last thing I kickstarted, besides like stuff like Rift Tracks, which I do every year, was the new Final Fantasy VII book that's about to come out. I think it's shipping. I think at this point, or about to, the 500 Years Later book. We'll uh, we'll get to Final Fantasy VII eventually. I have a lot to say about Final Fantasy VII. We're doing the run through in 9 on Thursday nights. Or Thursday, 6 p.m., so Thursday evenings ish. Alright, we're back here. And we're actually gonna, starting in June, we're gonna bump those Tuesday, Thursday, 6 p.m. streams to 7, I think. Because with my schedule in the summer, 6 is slightly too early. Yesterday, I just had enough time to get back from the gym, take a shower, and basically sit down. I kind of don't like rushing around like that. Alright, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be going here, but we got a bridge. Ooh. I dig the color palette here. The music sounds like sort of, actually it sounds like a Genesis game kind of generally, like sort of Vermilion or Phantasy Star. Sort of Vermilion's another game I want to do a replay of. Oh, come on! Really? Oh yeah, totally, Mad Wolf. I understand. I totally understand about, yeah, getting like pushed around by people. I mean, even with the podcasts and stuff like that, I've had a couple people be very aggressive and demanding, um, in ways that weren't really helpful, I guess. Oh, jeez. Ah. I'm gonna watch. If I try to watch a let's play of this, I'm just gonna cry the whole time as somebody like destroys the game, aren't I? Oh, nice. We got back up to 40. Oh, gee. One of the things that has made me a lot less critical over the last few years is ever since I started doing the podcast, I did a I did a podcast, another podcast back in the OOs, but it was just like kind of me plugging in a mic and going for it. I really didn't know what I was doing, but something that has made me a lot more forgiving for sure is now that I kind of know what I'm doing and I know like what's good quality, what's not good quality. I hear in other podcasts like the kind of mistakes that like editing mistakes and kind of audio, flubs and things like that I would have, say even a year ago really come down hard on myself for. That now it's like, well, I just kind of know that that's, sometimes some things that you can't really, they're just there. And like you kind of get to know like, one of the big things that I've really gotten to know is background music and like editing that and mixing it and all. And, when you're listening to somebody else's podcast, it's very easy to be like, well, that's, crappy how that's done. And then you kind of stop yourself and be like, well, that's, not cool to say that. And especially with retro games, because soundtracks are so, the quality on them is so hit or miss that, when I go to do, that's actually probably the hardest thing about the podcast is doing the mixing for the backgrounds. That can be, pretty hard. Let me just try to get across. Yeah. Because quality is so, hit or miss. It really is hit or miss. Especially depending on the source you're pulling it from and whatnot. And at the same time, it's reassuring when you hear, a podcast that you really like that's very popular kind of make the same kind of mistake that you might have made or had the same kind of quality issue. And you go, oh, well, the world didn't end. It is kind of a steam boosting a little bit. Oh, dude! Oh. I was just about to say that I was doing really well, and then somebody shoves me off a cliff. Oh, this game. Yeah, when you get hit near these walls that you can fall on, you seem to just like kind of slide towards them. Like, I wonder if it's coded that way. Yeah, see how you bounce back? Jeez. That's pretty brutal. Man, those flames take a lot of HP. Oh! Hmm. Alright, what time is it? 9:20? We'll play for another, like, 10 minutes. Because my phone's almost dying. I gotta charge it. Yeah, you can get kind of hooked on walls and all kinds of... See how you get kind of caught there? This is good research for the podcast, though. What I've decided to start doing is streaming games before I do episodes on them, and that way I have some, some stuff to kind of go off of when I start doing notes. That's how we're kind of out of nowhere gonna do a Mega Man 5 episode, because I streamed that back in like December, I think. January. I think it was over winter break. And I played for like an hour, and I've been going through it and taking notes. Oh, jeez. Ooh. Alright, we got back here. Oh, come on. Oh! No! I can really see why people hate this game. Oh! No, we gotta go right. I can see why people want to replay this, though, because you kind of get the map down and you know where you're going. Ooh, got through. Okay. Pause. Okay, my phone's down to 11%. Let's see if we can get through one of these. Holy crap! No, 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 no! Oh! Are you kidding me? Okay. I think I've about had my fill of this game. Oh man. All right, so thank you, Steph, Mad Wolf, etc., for coming by. um, I'll be back tomorrow for some Final Fantasy 9. Uh, so we're scheduled for 6, but it might be a little later than that, like 6:30. It just kind of depends on when I get out of the gym. Um, and then next week we'll be starting into Sega games and some other stuff as we're starting a new month, and we'll have some new podcast episodes out in a few days. I recorded one the other day. I just haven't had a chance to edit it. So, all right, I'm fed up with this game. All right, talk soon.